Greetings, fam, and welcome to Love Inspiry the podcast. When is the right time to get married? Does having it all together mean you will have a successful marriage? What should we really be preparing for? We talk about it all in today's podcast. I'm your host, Angie Rolle, the teen wife that turned my relationship struggles into strength, marital woes into wins, and made the mistakes so you don't have to. I've conquered the mission on how to build a successful relationship. So stick around with me and let's talk love. Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to another episode of Love Inspiry Podcast. For those who don't know, my name is Angie Rolle. I'm the founder of Love Inspiry, where our mission is to build more powerful, transparent, and durable relationships. Welcome to podcast episode number 44. We are talking about today. So let's back up a little bit. I posted on my stories a poll about, are you waiting to get married or get into like a serious relationship for when you have your finances together, when you have your career together, and all that other stuff, things like that is intact, like it's thriving and it's at the right place for you. And majority of the people, and I'm assuming that these people are not married at this point, majority of these people have said yes, that's what they're doing. They're waiting for the right time to get married. So obviously this was like a great podcast to have of when is the right time to get married? Like, are we focusing on the right things when we do that, when it gets married? And I'm going to talk about later on in the show, basically what we really truly need to be focusing on when it comes to preparing for marriage and prepping for marriage. But let's dig into this topic a little bit more. So there are people out there that want to be financially stable, that want to be stable in their careers, and so they hold off on marriage until all of that is right. So most people know my story as an individual, and of course everybody is different, right? I would never tell somebody to not have their money together, because whether you're in a relationship or not, you should have your money together. You should know how to budget. You should know how to save. You should know how to do all of these things. So it shouldn't be unnecessarily, I am going to, I'm doing all this to prepare for a marriage. Like, that should just come natural, like instinct off the rip, regardless of if you're married or not, if you have children or not. Like, you should want to be in a position of where your finances are in a good place. I'm not saying be rich, but of course that your finances are in a good place. So when it comes to money, people know my story of me and my husband really struggling with money. Now, what people don't know is we did not start out that way. Although we were young, we had a lot of 18 and 21 when we got married. We had a lot of help from his parents, like a lot of help to the point where we really weren't struggling. Like, now if they stopped that help, probably a little bit. But at that point, we weren't living beyond our means. We fell into a hole when we moved to Georgia. That's where the disconnect happened in finances, because he didn't get a job that he was supposed to have. It was given to somebody else. So it was a lot of things that happened that caused that trickle effect of why we fell into finances. And I say all this to say that you can prepare your financial situation, but God has other plans for you. If you had asked me in 2006, in 2008, 9, 10, will we be struggling financially? The answer would have been heck no. Like, absolutely not. We're not going to be struggling like that. I never thought that we would have been in the position that we were in, and it took us years and years to get out of it. So easy to fall into debt, but it's so hard to get out of it. And if you had asked me years ago if I would have been in that position or in the beginning of our marriage, we probably would have laughed in your face like, absolutely not. That never happened to us. And, well, not say never happened to us, but it just was not in the forefront of even a thing. It just wasn't even a thought in our head. And so, I say all that to say that anything can happen at any given time. So you can prepare your finances. You can say, I want to get married. I want to propose when my finances are in the right place. But there's always going to be a struggle for you in your relationship. You don't know what God has in store for you down the road. So I wouldn't say put off marriage because your finances are not where they need to be. Heck, they may not ever get to where you truly desire them to be, right? So I don't want people to think that finances is the only thing that is going to make your marriage better. There are other things, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show, other things that is going to prepare your marriage to be healthy. Your money is not going to make your marriage any better. And here's the thing with this. There's people that are financially stable that don't have good relationships.
For real.
If you think about it, there are people that have the best careers that don't have the best relationships. And I talked about this on the previous show 2 weeks ago. I talked about self-esteem and relationships. Check that out if you did not listen to that. It was very deep for me. But I talked about self-esteem and relationships and how a career really dampened my relationship. Again, you can have the best career, and this is what the Lord showed me afterwards, because I'm like, if I had a career, I wouldn't have no attitude. Bull crap, because I can find anything to have attitude with, you know what I'm saying? So that means nothing. So if I in the back of my head, I was saying, if I had this career, I wouldn't be acting like this. Like, everything would be okay in my marriage. I wouldn't be giving my husband a lip or just being aggressive towards him because I was insecure about not bringing anything into my household. I was very insecure about not financially contributing because I didn't have a college degree right out of when I got married. I didn't have that education to back me up when I needed it to back me up. And so what happened was, I explained in that episode everything that happened and how it really put a damper on my marriage. But again, like I said, you can have a career in place and lose that career. Who's to say, if I was to do what I wanted to do, be a labor and delivery nurse, that at some point something like sickness could have happened to me. Anything could have happened to me to put a damper on that. And so that's the gist of all this when you're thinking about getting married and preventing marriage, or not preventing marriage, but saying, I don't want to get married until X, Y, and Z happens, because you never know what can happen later down the line. God is going to put your relationship through a tribulation. Now, I would never project it'll be finances or you losing your job on that, but he's going to put you through some kind of tribulation in your relationship. And the things that we need to be preparing for to get us through that, finances, or not finances, there are skills and things of that sort. It's not finances, it's not your career that's going to get you through that. Of course, finances is one of those things, having your money together is one of the top causes for divorce. And honestly, I don't even know how me and Nate, being so young, got through that. It was truly the Lord. It was not us at all. And I think back to that, and it was a very bad situation for two young people to go through. And that's why I always tell people, your adversity in your relationship is going to show you the strength of your relationship. Had I not, of course, I grew up all my life. Nate and I are meant to be together, even when we weren't even talking. I didn't know how we were going to start talking. I didn't know none of that. I just knew we were going to be together. But it wasn't until we experienced what we experienced and overcame that I really knew the strength of our relationship. That I really knew, oh shoot, like, we are really, really meant to be. Like, this is a real thing. This is a real situation. This is a real marriage, a real love. And we have conquered the most tedious, frustrating thing that most adults, 40, 50-year-olds can't even get through: finances. And it was because we were prepared for other things. We prepared ourselves in other aspects, like creating that foundation. That's why I started January 2022 off with the free class of creating a solid foundation. What does it take? Because this is going to be the base of your relationship. You can have all the money in the world. You can have the best career in the world. But if your relationship is not built on a solid foundation, that money, that career means absolutely nothing. And another thing too, when I hear couples or individuals, single individuals say, they were trying to have their stuff together before they get into a relationship or get into a marriage, commit to a marriage, like they're trying to have their house, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. You truly miss out on growing with your partner. If you are really trying to have everything together, every I dotted, every T crossed, where are you growing with your significant other?
Oh.
Where are you growing together? At what point are you building with your partner? And that's another thing, that when you build with your partner, you are building endurance for longevity. You are setting yourself up, you're accomplishing something together. You're having that teamwork and that unity to, as a couple, that, okay, we can get through this. If we put our mind to this, we can tackle this goal together. And I often think about, of course, I say hindsight, if I had such and such, if I had a career, things wouldn't be together. But like I said earlier, you literally can fall at any time. And I really want people to understand this. Just because you're up one day does not mean you're going to stay up. Of course, now listen, disclaimer, let me say this one more time. I'm not wishing this on anybody. I'm not saying this is going to be your situation. It's just a known fact. The Bible tells us there's ups and downs, there's trials and tribulations. We're not going to get to heaven on flowery beds of Eve. Like, it's not going to be a coast to heaven. Like, everything's hunky-dory. I'm going to get there and it's going to be easy for me to get there. No, that's not the case. And it's not going to be that way in your marriage either. You're going to have trials, you're going to have tribulations. So what are the things that we really need to be preparing for? Of course, like I said, have your money together. Have that career if you want it. But don't let that be the deciding factor of if you decide to get married or not, because that stuff is not together. So what are the things that we need to be preparing for to have a great marriage, to have a better marriage, outside of finances, outside of a career, outside of all of those things that really are not going to withhold the marriage? What do we need to be building on in the foundation of our relationship to get it to stay? And the first thing that I want people to really prepare for, and I see this happen in my relationship, I see this happen in a lot of relationships: heal yourself. Whatever trauma you are facing or have faced, whatever abandonment you felt as a child, whatever past relationship has triggered you and made you believe that you cannot have a great relationship, we have to heal from that. It's not the money that's going to make our marriage fail. It's the fact that we are not healing from traumas. We are not healing from past experiences. We are constantly getting into new relationships and not digging deep into why the last one failed. It's not always the other person. Sometimes it is you. And I say this respectfully and humbly because I know at one point it was me. When I was dating my husband, I was not fully 110% healed. This is what can cause your relationship to fail. When you're bringing in that extra, I talked about this last week too, where it was projection. When you don't heal from abandonment, and let's say you have daddy issues, or your dad may have left you or he wasn't around, you're bringing that into your new relationship because you're constantly thinking that this man is not going to stay around. He's not going to be there for you. And when you have these negative thoughts, you start to act in a negative way. You start to act like this person is going to do what happened in my childhood, and it could not be the case. This person could be your person for you, but you are ruining the relationship. You're self-sabotaging because you have not healed. This right here, my friends, is what's going to cause your relationship to fail. It's not because you don't have the career that you want. Heal from your traumas. Really dig deep into why you are the way you are. That's the only way that you're going to have a successful relationship. That's the only way you're going to have a successful marriage, is if you heal. The second thing that I want to talk about is getting your mindset right. And this kind of ties into that. Most of us are programmed to believe that we'll never find the one. And it really breaks my heart when I hear single women say this. And I obviously, as you guys know, I coach a lot of single women. It wasn't my target audience, but most of the single women that I coach are women that want to be in a long-term relationship. So if you see somebody in a long-term relationship, of course you're going to reach them. And that's why I don't deny single women, access, I guess, to talk to me, for lack of better terminology. I talk to anybody in my coaching sessions, whether you're single, whether you are in a committed relationship, whether you're married, whether you're divorced. I try to help as best as I can. And I said this in my live the other day. about, I'm sidetracking, but I'm gonna get back to my point in a minute. I said this in my live the other day, that I don't play like I'm a relationship expert in every area of relationship, in every area of your relationship needs. And I'll let you know that, and that's the point of the discovery call. But your mindset is so important in your relationship. And like I said, when I hear single people say that they're never going to find the one, you can have found the one. You could be on Tinder swiping left or right, whatever it is, and find the one. But your mindset has tricked you into this person not being the one. So now you are going to self-sabotage. You're going to make him or her out to be the bad guy. They're always going to be doing something wrong in a relationship. It's always going to be them, never you. You're not going to communicate because you have already set yourself up to fail. And I know it's so cliche to say, oh my gosh, your mindset is so important because it controls your actions. It really truly does. It really truly does. Because when I was in that realm of feeling like my relationship was going to fail, I had to get out of that rut. It was really the Lord that sent his grace and mercy to me to understand that if you don't fix your attitude, you're going to lose exactly what you pray for all of your life. If you don't get yourself right, and what I mean by get yourself right, start reading your Bible, understanding your Bible, truly understanding your Bible, you are going to lose exactly what you pray for because you are getting in your own way. You are self-sabotaging. And of course, I may not have lost it because whatever your blessing is your blessing, but it wouldn't have been happy. It wouldn't have been thriving to the point that it should have been thriving. So I say all this to say, get your mindset right. Your mindset is what's going to prepare you for a better marriage, not your finances, not your career. Because when it all comes down to it and you possibly lose that career, you fall, what do you have? Your finances fall. What do you have to fall back on? Your mindset, your positivity, you focusing on the outcome. All right, babe, this happened. How are we going to do this? How are we going to get through this? And I was one of those people at the time like, oh my goodness, we're never going to get through this. We should have never came down to Georgia. Negative. And I honestly believe we probably stayed in that situation because I wasn't appreciating my blessings. I've talked about this before, I think maybe in a blog or something. But I truly believe God kept us where we were for so long because I was not appreciating the blessings. I was upset with where I was living, but I wasn't really thankful that I actually had a roof over my head. So it's not going to be your money or your career that's going to get you. You can lose that. But most of the time, you're not going to lose your mindset. Be positive. And I know guys, some of this stuff when it comes to relationships is very cliche. But if we don't take it and apply it, listen, you got to get your mindset right, because that's what's going to help you that's what's going to help you first build your foundation. And then if something happens, when something happens in your relationship, it might not be finances, it might not be you losing your good job, but some kind of adversity, like I said earlier, is going to happen in your relationship, and you're going to need your mindset. You're going to need your mindset to fall back on and say, all right, let's pick ourselves up and figure out a plan to do X, Y, and Z. And that's just that. The third thing that I want to talk about is what's going to help your relationship, things that you need to be prepared for. Guys, this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about not focusing on necessarily hindering getting married because your money is not right or your career is not right. We're talking about focusing on things that's going to actually help make your relationship better, help you get long term. Again, disclaimer, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm not telling anybody to not have their money right, because you should have that right. You should have it somewhat together. Not saying be rich, but you should have a budget, savings in place, whether you are married or not. If you were over the age of 21, if you graduated, you need to have some kind of backup plan, some kind of something. Take it from me, moving to Georgia, if we really truly had a backup plan, we probably may not have been in the situation that we were in. So I'm not saying don't have your money together. You should have that together regardless. But we're talking about things that is really going to help benefit your relationship. your skills, your relationship skills. How well can you communicate? How well can you trust? And here's the thing with trust that goes back to healing from trauma. You may have trust issues that are not necessarily the person's fault, but it's something on your end that you could be doing, something that you haven't healed from. A lot of the times we don't trust people, other people, because we don't trust ourselves. It's not always the other person's fault that they did something wrong. Maybe it's our fault because we didn't set the boundaries. Maybe we're the one that ignored the red flags. It's not that their fault that they're given a red flag. It's the fact that we just decided, oh, I'm going to ignore it because I want this relationship. Trust, communication. A lot of us can't communicate because we can't communicate with ourselves. A lot of us can't forgive because we can't forgive ourselves. And if you don't have these important skills, we can't manage conflict because we haven't managed the conflict from within. If you don't have these skills,
what the hell we gonna do now?
This is what's gonna make your relationship fail. Not because you don't have no money in the relationship. Because guess what? When you don't have no money in the relationship, guess what's gonna see you through? Conflict management. Am I telling the truth or not? What's gonna see you through if the career falls down the pipeline? Communication. I'm speaking nothing but facts here, speaking definitely from experience. My husband didn't go to college, but he has a trade. If he were to lose his job, of course he's in an industry like doctors and nurses, that kind of industry where he can pick up and get a job really at any time. If he was to get fired, it would not be hard for him to find another job. He has a CDL. So, but at the same time, just because you can find another job doesn't mean that it's going to happen just overnight, or doesn't mean that you may take a hit, because you still got to wait for a check. So what's going to be the glue to getting us through that? Communication, conflict management, problem solving, trusting one another. These are the skills that we need to be preparing for. And this is what I pretty much base my whole business on now, teaching people these skills to help them overcome this adversity. These are the skills that are needed to overcome adversity. It's not going to be your money. It's not going to be your job. It's not going to be what type of house you live in, what kind of car you drive. It's going to be your skills. How well are these skills being implemented? And a lot of us lack these skills. Like I said earlier, there are people that are financially stable. They have the best career in the world, but they lack in relationships because their skills aren't right. No shade. They can't find the right one because they lack these particular skills. They lacked healing from their traumas. They lacked having a great mindset. I want you guys really to think about this, and hopefully I'm not coming off too aggressive, but I really want you guys to think about this, especially for people that are not in a relationship and have the mindset of, I'm going to wait until I have everything together. You're focusing on the wrong things. You're focusing on the wrong things. Do not let that be the hindrance of you getting into a relationship. Because at the end of the day, when you find the right person and you are trying to go to school or you're trying to elevate in your career, the right person is going to nurture that. The right person is going to motivate and encourage you. The right person is going to take on the task so that you can do whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's part of growing together. That's how you know okay, this is the one right here. This person is helping me. This person is, grinding for me, backing me up. Maybe they're fixing dinner one night. Come on now. So this person is going to be there for you. So I really truly want you guys to think about that. Take that into consideration if you're one of those people that's saying, oh, I'm going to wait till my finances get right. I'm going to wait till my money gets right. That's so hell-bent on focusing on those material things that you're missing the skills. to actually make it to longevity. That you miss out on healing to make it to longevity, so you're not bringing projection into your relationship. To getting your mindset right, preparing your mindset. These are the things that are going to help you build a long-lasting, joyful, and healthy relationship. All right, guys? So if you have any questions on this podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts below. What do you think? Are you going to continue to prepare your things that can, I don't want to say they're unimportant because they are very important, but things that are not going to make your relationship better? Are you going to start preparing for things that are really going to get your relationship in the direction that they should go? Let me know if you're listening on the podcast. Head over to our social media. We'll have a clip over there. Leave your comment there. If you listen on the podcast, please leave us a review. We hope you like the show. And I hope you guys truly understand what I was saying in this. Again, I'm not saying don't have your money together. I'm not saying don't have the career that you desire. All I'm saying is don't let that hinder you or be the sole thing you focus on to think that's going to make your relationship better, because it's not. Your skills, healing, and your mindset, that's what's going to make your relationship better. All right, guys, so if you want to talk to me one-on-one, feel free to hit me up at www.loveinspiry.com/services, where we can talk one-on-one with each other about your relationship needs. If you don't know me personally and don't think that I can help, what you want to do is book a discovery call, and I will be more than happy to talk about your relationship needs, what I can bring to the table, and then we can go from there in booking an actual session. Again, I do not coach in those discovery calls. It's just for us to see if we are a good partnership with one another. So guys, I'll see you all in the next podcast. Hopefully that husband of mine returns. If not, he's gonna get a little nuggy. But hopefully I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys all in 2 weeks as we talk about private relationships versus secret relationships. You'll want to stick around for that. So I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a blessed day.